Hey guys, in the last part, we have seen how to create a web API or REST API, and in this part, we are going to see how to create a perfect or acceptable web API creation. This is just a backend work, so there is not this is a format we or web API developers basically use. So the next method we'll be doing is uh, we'll be sending the data like think like it is a sign up process, and the end user has filled up all the data and they are sending the data via JSON to our API. What we need to do is we need to add the JSON to our database and send them the response that the specific data is added to database or not. So the work we are going to do is we are going to save the employee, and we need to send the responses anything we wanted in the response as 200, which means success. For that, what we need to do is create an HTTP post method, and now route our method. So this is the most important part. If we never write any route, our application method won't get hit. Add employee, so public I action result of add new employee. As I said already, the both doesn't need to be same. Although we can able to access our method by using this also, but this doesn't need to be the same. Route is a method used to redirect our API call to this method. Okay, so let's add our try catch blocks here. Exception E. Now so as an I action result, we can able to send the responses as a user specific error also. So if it is a bad request, this will the API automatically sends error 400 something like that. If there is no method like if end user called add employee, what basically people does is API slash employee slash add employees, they will be adding like this. So they will call API like add employees. So on that time, what will be response is they will be getting a 404 error, which means the method is not found in the API. Like in the last part, what we got is API slash employee slash get all employees. So if the if the end user doesn't enter get all employees, if they forget to enter yes, means they will be getting is 404 error, which means the method is not found. So for now, what I will be doing is adding a new repository file, so which is so let me send response as boolean if that employee is added or not. Add employee as a parameter. I'm going to get employee to add the data to the database. Okay, so in this way I'm going to implement it here also. Our adding a new interface method will give us error in the implementation. So what we had is we need to add it here. So let's add if employee context not equal to null. And now what we need to do is add our data to the employee database table. So now employee context dot employee dot, since this is like link queue, looks like link queue, we need to add this directly like this. So add our entity and click on enter and click on return bool. See, this won't save our data to the database, it's just added. So what we need to do is we need to save the db context dot save changes. So what we need to do is add our employee to the employee table and add the context. This will basically add and save. Return, and what we need to do is false. This is just a false alarm. So if there is if the db context is null, this is basically a like a SQL error, context error, which basically means an SQL error. So in this stage, what we need to do is back to controller and get that method where is employee added equal to employee repository dot add employee. So see, it's expecting employee, so we need to get that from the end user as well. So end user will be sending us the employee form, and this employee will be sent to the API like our repository to like this. And what we basically need to do is return this, since it is a OK response. If it is a true, return OK, which means this is the perfect response as 200. We got earlier green color button, so errors and specific user specific messages like this. Now if there is a error, just send return status code of 500, which means internal server error. So if it is false, then what we need to do is we need to send another response code or whatever. Since it is an internal server error, we can able to send this also. So we can send a custom also, 404 or anything like 500, 505, anything like that. So that's not a perfect way of writing a code. So since it is an internal server error, we basically add it as internal server error. So let's test the API. So what I basically do is add a debugger here and also here. So let's test that. This might take some time to load in the Google Chrome as well. The same response we got last time also. It will take some time to load its value or load in the localhost IAS. I don't know what version of IAS I have, but it's still slow. Send. Typically we got the response. Let me copy it, post, and add our route data. Route data is add employee. See, we need to have same name as add employee. This can be small letters also. There's no need for us to know. Since this needs to be in a JSON format, I'll just enclose it like this. And employee ID is a primary key, so we don't need to send this. Now we can add a name Chandru India. It's already in the database also. So let me add a new table, column India, age as 48, and let's send the data to the API. So in this we got the post data. Whatever we added there will be sent here, Bharani 48 India. Now we are going to send that data back to the here and add our employee. This will add save changes and it has saved our database. So let's check in our database. Yes, data is added in our SQL server also. This way we can able to basically change. So the response is true. The response code is 200, status 200, content type JSON. Since this is a JSON, we are going to send this as a JSON as well. And this is a ASP.NET application. And I have IIS 10.0 in my local machine. So this send this is me and this as well. Friday complete request details can be viewed here. And if your application has authorization, something like that, we can able to add our authorization and add our bearer token or whatever the authorization type we have. You can already send like this. So since we don't have anything like this, we can send that. So since the JSON format has been figured out from here, so if it is a text format, we need to change here. So I'm not going to change this. Okay, that's how we are going to create a new perfect way of creating a web API. I hope you understood it. If you are not clear about it, please comment out here, or I'll be adding my Instagram account in this description field also. Please feel free to contact me as well. I'll be adding everyone. I'll be helping each and everyone whoever got a problem in creating a web API. So for just the conclusion, what we did from the start to end. So what we basically did is in the first part as model, we created a model and we just created a DB context and we added a employee DB set in this stage. And next what we did is we created a service.add.mvc, so this name which we added in the application context connection name. These details are the details of our SQL server. We are going to create our DB in this name. And now what we did is we opened the console manager and we added a migration. So this automatically added as our initial context migration as well. In this stage we completed 50% of our creating a web API. And in the next part what we seen is we created a controller folder, implementation folder and interface folder, and created 3 class files. One is controller, one is interface, and another one is implementation file for this folder. And what we basically did is we just routed it and added a API controller. In the previous stage what we did was we need to add our repository here, so that we will be getting our constructor values here. Okay, and now in the next stage what we did is we routed our for initial steps and we got a new interface method and we implemented it here. And we got all list in to list format. From controller we called that get employees method and we send that to the employees. This is the complete overview. And in this part what we had done is which has seen like this. There is so many difference, like we are sending list of employees which will send the list of employees. Since this is an API, this won't send an exception message to the user and the application will not be getting crashed. So this is a bad way of doing a programming. So I just did it in a new perfect way. Even this is not a complete 100% perfect, but the people will accept this as well. This is not as bad as like this method. So what we basically did is we added a new repository, a new interface method, and implemented it here, and added our employee in the context as well, and saved our context database. In the meantime, we added a new method here, and we routed it add employee in the name of add employee, and we just called the repository interface method add employee, and we passed the end users data. And if the data is added, we basically add the data, or else we basically what we did is we set status code as 500. Even if it is a catch exception, we are sending this as a status code. Otherwise we can send this as a error 400 as well, because this is the error that depends on the user. So in this stage we can able to test our application. I just closed it, and we are able to add our data to the database as well. So to go through, if you need to create a new table here, means what you need to do is create a new model file just like this, not exactly like this, as per your requirement, and add a new DB context here. And what you do next is create add migration and give it a name, migration name, or whatever you need the name is, and just update the database. In this stage, whenever you check this after updating database, and you will be getting a done stage like this. You can check the database like this, and if you get and you will be getting a new table. You will be seeing a new table like employee, like that, whatever the name you provide. And that's it. You can create a new controller for that table also, and a new repository and new interface for that specific class file. So for now we have seen a one-to-one table. So if you have a time on the next video, what I'll be doing is how to create a multiple table. So in this table we never added any foreign key or a primary. This is the primary key, and we never added any foreign keys. And this is for it. Since this is for demo, I never added it. So if you want anything like a multiple data table, like employee author books kind of thing, each and every employee author can able to write so many books as well. So those kind of primary key foreign key implementation, if you want a demo like this, like that, so please comment out here. If you like this video, please like. So if you please send this video to the students as well, since they need to get this information before getting into the IT field. Thank you.